This is the samurai class of old Japan, one of the most rigid social hierarchies the world has ever known. This latter reflects the Tokugawa era, when Japan's warrior class became a hereditary caste. It did not run on ambition, it ran on birth. But before we reach the wall that birth built, we begin at the bottom. You begin as a peasant boy. You are not a warrior, you are a farmer's son. Your world is a single village and the rice paddies around it. You wake before dawn. You work until dark. You are always a little hungry. You owe a share of your rice to a lord you will never meet. Your name is not written in any record. To the world, you do not exist. You have never held a weapon. You have never left your province. The fields you work are not yours. The rice you grow is not yours to keep. A bad harvest means hunger. A good one means the Lord simply takes more. You measure time by harvests, not years. One season blurs into the next. A single bad winter can erase a whole village. You have seen it happen. You learn early that your life is not your own. It belongs to the land and the Lord. When you are old enough to carry a load, you carry one. That is your whole childhood. This is the life your father lived and his father before him. There is no path out of it. The class you are born into is the class you die in. More is a distant rumor, until the day it arrives at your fields. When a lord needs men, the call goes out to the villages. You are not asked. You are taken. A foot soldier is cheap, and you are expendable. You leave your family with a borrowed spear and no training. For a peasant boy, this is the only door that opens upward. Most who walk through it are never heard from again, but a few survive long enough to become something more. Level 1. You become an Ashigaru recruit, a light foot soldier, the lowest rank in any army. You are handed a spear, a simple helmet, and a banner to wear on your back. You are now property of the domain, fed just enough to march and fight. Your training is brutal and short. There's no time for anything else. You learn to hold a line of spears shoulder to shoulder with other terrified men. You learn to march for days on a fistful of rice. You carry everything: supplies, rope, tools, the gear of men above you. You dig the camps. You build the fences. You haul the wounded. In battle, you're the front rank, the wall of bodies that meets the charge. The first time you see a battle line, your legs nearly give out. The noise alone is something no village ever prepared you for. Spears, guns, horses, screaming. You are a single body in a wall of bodies. Your only job is to hold, to not run, to be a brick in a wall that must not break. Some men freeze, some men flee. Those men do not last. The banner on your back is not for pride. It is so your commanders can count the dead. You sleep in the open, in the rain, in the cold, wherever the army stops. Hunger is constant. A handful of rice and salt is a full meal. You watch men you marched beside fall and be left where they drop. No one will remember your name if you die here. The line simply closes the gap, but every battle you survive teaches you something the dead never learned. If you break and run, your own officers may cut you down. If you stand, you might live to be paid in rice and kept another season. You are nothing to the men who command you, but you are still breathing. And that is more than most. Survive enough battles, and you stop being a recruit. Level 2. You are now a full Ashigaru. You have survived your first campaigns. You know how war actually works. You are trusted with a better weapon. Perhaps a matchlock gun or a longer spear. The gun changes everything. A peasant can be trained to fire one in weeks. For the first time, your skill begins to matter more than your numbers. You are placed in a unit with a structure under a low officer. You receive a steady ration and a fixed place in the line. You are still a commoner, but you are a useful one. And usefulness in wartime is the one thing that can lift you. Level 3. You become a veteran Ashigaru. You have fought in enough battles that other men look to you. You are given charge of a small group of foot soldiers. You pass on what kept you alive, and you keep them in line. Your pay rises. Your rice ration grows. Your word carries weight. You may be given a small reward of land or a permanent place in the domain. You are now a man with something to lose, and that makes you valuable. You have climbed as high as discipline alone can take a foot soldier. To rise again, you must be trusted, not just useful. Level 4. You are made a mounted retainer. This is the highest a commoner could realistically rise. You are trusted enough to ride, to carry orders, to stand near men of rank. A horse is expensive. To be given one is a sign of real status. You serve a samurai directly, and you share in the edges of his world. You have land, followers of your own, and a name people respect. You have done everything the system asked of you. You have climbed every rung a commoner is allowed to climb. And here, You stop, because no matter how far you rise, you remain what you were born. You were promoted into the samurai class. You were born into it. You did everything right. It still wasn't enough. On one side stand the commoners. On the other, the samurai. It is not a wall of skill. It is a wall of birth. Imagine it. Years of war, wounds, loyalty. Everything asked of you given. You proved yourself 100 times over. And the one thing that decided your fate was something you did at birth. Before you could choose anything at all. By the Edo period, this is where almost everyone stopped. A peasant could carry a spear, fire a gun, even ride a horse, but he could not be born again as a samurai. The line between the classes was written into law itself. This is the limit the every Rung story keeps returning to. Not every hierarchy rewards merit. This one barely rewarded it all. For almost everyone, this was the end. One man crossed the wall. His name was Toyotomi Hideyoshi. He was born a peasant with no rank and no name worth recording. He rose during the Sengoku era, when Japan was at war with itself. In that chaos, the old rules broke down, and talent could be rewarded. He started as a sandal bearer carrying another man's shoes, but the Sengoku era was an age of fire where old families fell and new men rose. Skill on the battlefield could outweigh the accident of birth. For a time, he climbed from foot soldier to general to ruler of all Japan. History remembers him precisely because what he did was almost impossible, and he knew it. Once in power, he froze the ladder behind him. He forbade peasants from carrying swords, sealing the classes apart. When peace returned under the Tokugawa, the wall closed again. The exception proved the rule. Beyond this point, you had to be born. Level 5. The samurai. For everyone below the wall, this was the dream that could never be reached. A samurai was a member of the warrior class by blood. He carried 2 swords. A right no commoner was permitted. He answered to a lord and served him with his life. He was educated, trained from childhood in war and conduct. He received a stipend of rice, paid simply for being who he was born to be. Even the poorest samurai stood above the richest merchant or farmer. This was the floor of the world you could not enter, and the ceiling of the world you could. To the peasant who could only look up, the samurai was everything he could never be. Level 6. The Gokunin, a direct retainer of the Tokugawa Shogunate, a samurai who served the shogun himself, not a regional lord. His stipend was modest, but his master was the most powerful man in Japan. He held office, kept order, and carried out the business of government. He was inside the machine of power, near the bottom of its inner ranks. Level 7. The Hatamoto, a higher direct retainer and a man of real standing. Unlike the Gokunin below him, he was granted an audience with the shogun. To stand before the shogun in person was a privilege few would ever hold. He held important posts, commanded men, and governed land. He was the trusted core of the shogun's own forces. Level 8. The Carol, the chief retainer of a great house, the highest-ranking servant of a lord, and his closest advisor. He ran the domain day to day, commanding other samurai beneath him. When his lord was absent, he could speak with his lord's authority. He was a samurai who had reached the summit of service to another. Level 9. The daimyo, a great lord, ruler of an entire domain. He controlled land, taxes, castles, and an army of samurai sworn to him. Hundreds of thousands of lives could fall under a single daimyo. He answered to only one man in all of Japan, but that man held his family, his land, and his life in his hand. Level 10. The shogun, the supreme military ruler of Japan. In name, the emperor sat above him. In truth, the shogun ruled. Every daimyo, every samurai, every peasant answered ultimately to him. He commanded the loyalty of the entire warrior class. He kept the daimyo in check, holding their families close as the price of peace. The weight of an entire nation's order rested on his decisions. Everything the peasant boy could never reach, the shogun was simply born holding. And almost without exception, this man was born to rule. This was the samurai hierarchy, a ladder that rewarded loyalty and blood, but rarely merit. You could give it your whole life and climb every rung a commoner was allowed, and still, the wall would be there, exactly where your birth had placed it.